Welcome to Zscaler Pulse, a podcast brought to you by the Zenith community team aimed at quick updates and discussions around cybersecurity, zero trust, and Zscaler products and services. I'm Ben Garrison. I am the program and knowledge manager for the Zenith community, and I am joined once again, my partner in crime and co-host Hugsley Dunsany. How you doing, buddy? Long time.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited to be back in the saddle with you again.
Yeah, as you know, I love these podcasts. It's always on my calendar, and and we brought some friends, some
Yeah,
really smart people today.
we brought an all-star cast. We've got Kalyan, we've got Naladri, and we've got Vinu, and we are so excited to bring you all here to talk about this amazing dynamic that Zscaler is creating with Apple. And Kalyan, if I'm not mistaken, maybe you can help just kind of set the stage here. Like, what is this zero-day Apple Zscaler thing that we're talking about?
Yeah, well, it is basically it is an endeavor or an effort I would call to make Zscaler on Apple a first-class citizen experience. We basically test the beta softwares of Apple and in advance, and we sort of report any issues back to Apple so that when Apple goes live with their software sometime in September every year, we actually can claim that if there are any issues, we offer guidance, we offer reports to customers versus if everything works great and then we go and claim that we are zero-day ready or zero-day compatible.
So it's a
That is
great
super
way.
cool.
So it's a great way to just kind of get in front of, the new releases for our customers and for our partners. And I think that's fantastic. How do you get like alignment? Like, how do you get internal alignment from like our product managers and engineering and all the things that we have around this effort, right? Because it's a big one. I know some people in the community that are like foaming at the mouth about this kind of stuff, and they want to get these reports. And we'll talk more about the seed one and seed two and seed three. I think seed four is coming out and it might be out by the time this podcast drops. So we'll get there. But how do you gain the alignment within the internal teams around something like this?
Yeah, it's a multi-stage, multi-phase sort of an approach that we take at this, and there are multiple stakeholders as well. Think of it like a multi-stage rocket, right? So each stage has to perform in each phase so that the next one can kick in. So there's multiple teams involved to get this job done. It spreads across the company. It's a company-wide initiative. So there's PMs, engineering, customer success, support teams, TAMs, CSMs, pretty much all of them sort of involved in this. And then, of course, you have to get the buy-in from the teams for the fact that we are being proactive. We're trying to stay ahead of the curve. We're trying to test and qualify our software on beta releases of Apple in advance. And then, of course, so there is um, everybody understands the outcomes, the benefits, the values that we drive from such a kind of a program. So and quickly, everybody were sort of jumped into this. It was somewhere it was written on the wall that people were wanting to do some kind of an activity or an initiative such as this. And then so that we can test and qualify in advance and report any issues and then make sure that we stay ahead of the curve.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can I butt in with a question? I'm really curious, and Ben, I think this might be true for you as well, but one of my earliest steps in my career was working for Apple. I worked there, started in early 2004, and I was there for quite a while, learned a lot, and then moved on, and now I'm at Zscaler for even longer. But one thing that I learned working for Apple is that they keep their cards pretty close to their chest most of the time. And I'm really curious, how did this relationship between Zscaler and Apple even get started?
Yeah, so this relationship has been a lot, existing for quite some time already. So Zscaler and Apple have been coordinating, have been working together for quite some time on various aspects, and we are actually enrolled into quite a few of those Apple programs, whether you call it
Hmm.
beta program or Apple Suite for IT and stuff like that. So yes, they keep their cards pretty close to themselves, but having said that, it is this WWDC, that happens every year, sometime in June, is when they actually release and announce all their product enhancements and software updates. and they give it out for beta for 4 months, right? So that is
Yeah.
the opportunity or the window within which we can actually go ahead, or enterprises, Zscaler can go ahead and then test and report anything back to Apple. Yeah, and I think that 4 month window is a decent enough window for enterprises,
Yeah.
and then to qualify and validate it.
Yeah, I'm terrified right now, guys. It's like a storm going
Oh
on
boy.
outside right now. I'm in Tampa,
Exciting.
and right now it feels like it's one of those. It's crazy. So I might lose power. I'm just saying I
Okay.
might lose power in the middle of this podcast, but I'll be back. I'll be back. I'm gonna stick through the whole time though. So
Zscaler Pulse might turn into the Weather Channel in any minute now.
and if you I'll pull up the Weather Channel with satellite and the imagery. If you notice right here, so that's awesome. But yeah, I think I worked at Apple for a good stint, and I have a lot of Apple experience as well, working in IT, corporate IT, and deploying. My previous job, they're super heavy on identity management, specifically with
Hmm.
Mac and Windows as well. But and so it's interesting to see because I remember in my previous company with like MDM and that kind of stuff that was their biggest thing that they were doing, and it was always a question of, and surprisingly, they didn't really have a 0-day support program like Zscaler's doing, right?
Hmm.
I know that they tested. I know that they tested the things and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't an open and collaborative program like we have with Zscaler, because anybody can be involved. If you're on the community, on the Zscaler community, you can log in and you can see the reports and you can get involved, right? With with the 0-day support if you're a customer. And that to me is amazing, right? Do you
Yeah, certainly. And
do you see
I
anybody else
just
doing this in the industry? Do you see anybody else? That's kind of where I was going with it because I didn't see it before. Do you see anybody else doing this?
So, well, we're calling it 0-day readiness or 0-day support or day zero support. There are multiple ways of calling this,
Yeah.
but and Apple is not throwing it out there like it's a certification program. So it's not a formal program per se. It's more
Hmm.
of an initiative that the company or an enterprises take up. MDMs do it. In the past life, I've seen MDM companies do it, and they still do it. The goal is to stay ahead of the curve to ensure that you're supporting the latest Apple enhancements and software updates, but you're also testing your compatibility of your software. And yeah, I mean, like you said, Ben, like anybody, any enterprise that's part of Apple Suite for IT, sort of a Apple program, they can subscribe to those software updates and be a developer and then get those beta updates or seed drops and then test and qualify and you know s- have that acceptance testing done in advance. There's also a piece of this which I was just trying to allude to a moment ago, which is Apple also has the software enhancements, right? So a lot of these companies try to take advantage of that. So during these 4 months, they take advantage of those latest software enhancements and then sort of include it into their applications or in their logic or workflows. And on the day when Apple makes the software generally available, sometime in September or September second week, they also come up and say that we support them. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a fantastic sort of a company-wide initiative that customers and enterprises all engage as a whole.
And Niladri, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw a reference somewhere that you were, at least in virtual sense, attending WWDC. Is that right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was able to attend the WWDC developer,
Hmm.
in person, and also attended the WWDC virtually as well. So, and I was quite impressed with what's coming in Tahoe and what's coming in iOS 26, but more so, being there in person at the WWDC developer, conference, that was tremendous because there were a number of announcements there that were quite impactful, and I think our customers are going to be quite excited to hear about them.
Mm.
And we are also working to incorporate some of the upcoming technologies into Zscaler Client Connector as well. So it was definitely a lot of great things coming, and you can tell that there's definitely a much, there's quite a bit of focus around not only device management, but a lot of conversations around, a move to declarative device management, right, as opposed to the traditional MDM side of things, and also using that as a way to deliver things like, being able to, like, for example, today, I'll tell you, customers have a challenge at times when they deploy Client Connector using the App Store, right?
Yep.
And we will, when we have a new release of Client Connector, we have one release a quarter. That's our one major release a quarter. That's our cadence, right? So when we push these releases out, they're slow rolled out across the App Store, right? And customers out there who have users, have Client Connector enrolled to their devices, they at times have wanted to, test out, Client Connector, the new release of Client Connector before it hits their devices, right? In the past, the only way to do that was to sign up, for, with the Apple Enterprise Developer Program, now, which is
Yeah.
appropriate for a lot of customers who develop their own software, who have line of business software that isn't necessarily always hosted on App Store. And that way they can have their own App Store and they can maintain and control releases. Other customers couldn't, right? So one of the things that, we heard about was that customers going forward will be able to essentially pin a release of Client Connector and make sure that, they can kind of hold off on their devices getting updated with the latest release as soon as we post it to the App Store. And once they're done with their acceptance testing, then they can go ahead and, enable the new release. So it gives them a great way to manage risk and to also make sure that, they're able to follow their internal processes, like macOS or with any other platform
So
as
that's
well.
a big uplift for any company that's thinking about patch management solutions on your
Yeah.
endpoints, right? Like to be able
Yeah.
to, I think for me, I remember this because I had some experience with an MDM before. I'm not going to say the name. I mean, yeah, I will. Jamf. I worked with Jamf a
Wow.
lot, right? Like I worked with Jamf a lot. I know Jamf in and out. I know Jamf in and out, right? So,
You heard it here, folks. He knows Jam.
oh, I know. You hear it
Inside and
first.
out.
You hear it here. Exactly. Actually, it's not that crazy. But they had the Jamf app console that allows you to deploy applications to the endpoints.
Yeah.
And it was yeah, we can always control when it was pushed out. But my biggest thing, and I know we're not talking about this, is like, but what about pulling it back? Right.
Mm.
And that's always been a big headache, is like if I deploy this out and something goes bad, it's rolling it back with Apple is usually more difficult than updating, right? You can't usually roll back very easily unless you completely uninstall and reinstall and do that kind of crazy stuff. But I mean, do we have anything like that? Did you hear anything about from a patch management or anything like that, how to not only deploy, but then also possibly how to roll back? Or is that still something that they didn't talk about?
Maybe I'll punt it over to Vinu here for a second, because we have this, within the Zscaler platform itself, we have some good capabilities for lifecycle management as well, right? When it comes to things like Mac OS. Vinu, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so absolutely. That's a very good question, Ben. How do customers roll back a software if things are not going as planned? So on the Zscaler side, we do have an option to revert the softwares after customer upgrade to a newer version. They do have that choice. But unfortunately, on the Apple side, for the OS upgrades, there is no way to roll back to a previous version at this time. The only choice customers will have is if they're on a beta version, which is having some issues, and they wish to go back to the stable version, the stable GA version of the OS. If there is going to be a refresh for the GA OS, then of course they will be able to upgrade to that version or switch back to that public release. But there can be situations where the new OS, for example, this Tahoe is getting much closer to the public release, and we had 4 beta releases, and we just received the beta 5 this week. And at this point, we may not receive any more upgrades for the last year's Sequoia OS. And if you find an issue with the beta 5 at this time, then the chances are that we will be stuck with that version until Apple release the new beta, which is addressing that issue. That is the trend so far. But again, it's up to Apple. If the issue is very severe and they want to address it in their public release, then of course they can go ahead and do a refresh for the Sequoia. So yeah, that is how the situation is right now on the Apple side. But on the endpoint side for CCC, the Zscaler client connector, we do have the option to revert as and when we want. Yeah.
So
Well, I know we're almost at time here, and so I wanted to just make sure we have a chance for you guys to get any last thoughts out, and I want to do this before Ben's house gets swept away in a hurricane.
I was
Yeah.
laughing because I wanted to change my green screen to like a storm, and they'd be like, reporting live from Tampa is Apple 0-day support.
Niladri, did you have a last thought you wanted to jump in with?
Yeah, stay safe, man. Yeah, so just you know, one quick thing to mention here is, you know, we've been talking about Tahoe, and we've been talking about iOS 26 and 0-day support. One thing I want to mention here is that one of the biggest challenges that customers have had, right, has been not just with major releases. So when they've had, for example, Apple has released a patch release, right? Our customers want to get that out there as quickly as possible because these patch releases actually have a lot of security fixes in them, right? And what happens today? Customers today they essentially have to kind of sit on their hands, and they have to wait to see, hey, is you know, my vendor's software supported or not? So, you know, with this 0-day support program, our goal is to make sure customers know and have documented information saying, hey, nope, Zscaler has actually tested this out, not just with major releases, but with patch releases as well. And we are good to go to roll out, you know, a patch release of, you know, Tahoe, whatever the next patch release of Tahoe comes out as well. So this is you know, our goal here is to make sure that customers can enjoy that, you know, A, security, and B, the innovation that Apple introduces, and at the same time know that they're secure, you know, with Zscaler, you know, and our Zero Trust Exchange sitting in path.
Yes,
So that's and of course the last thing I'd say here is, Ben, don't get swept away.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I think it blew over. So that's good. But I did
Okay.
want to say, I know we're running so like rapid fire,
Rapid
Venu,
fire.
because we were talking. I didn't mean to take this on a patch management conversation, but I did it anyway. It's my show. Anyway, so but real quick, Venu, Seed 4, where are we at, and how can customers get involved? Because I think that's going to be the biggest thing. And what are we learning? Real quick, what have we learned? What's up with Seed 4? How can customers get involved? And go.
Yeah, so with this year's Tahoe beta releases, I would say things are looking pretty stable compared to last year's Sequoia. But we did reveal, or we did uncover one of the issue that was there with the system API. So as you might have noticed, with the Tahoe, Apple is changing the OS version number. Now they
Yeah.
are labeling it as 26. Earlier, the numbering was 14, 15, 16. No, they did not have 16. They had 15. That was Sequoia. And then Tahoe was supposed to be 16, but they changed it to 26. But one of the system APIs that we are using for the device posters, that was still returning 16 instead of 26. And that was leading to one of the functionality getting broken around device posters. And we filed a support ticket with Apple using the feedback assistant, and we got that fixed. But apart from that one issue, things are looking pretty stable. We are uncovering issues with other third-party tools as well that we are using for testing, and yeah, that's an interesting aspect of these programs. We are not only uncovering issues with the Apple software and Zscaler softwares, we are also going to uncover issues with other third-party softwares that we use for testing, and it's a win-win situation for everybody, right? So just this week, I heard from my team that they are finding issues with the APM framework that we use for our test automation. So the chances are that there could be a bug in the latest APM version that is having some interoperability issues with beta, the Tahoe beta, or issue could be on Apple's side. So once we narrow down the issue, we will find exactly whose side the problem is, and we will file the support ticket accordingly, and we will get it fixed. Now, speaking about the participation from customers for the seed program, it would be really great. The more number of customers we have in this program, we will have more surface area, more users participating in this program, and that will help us uncover lots of issues, or pretty much all the issues, before the OS becomes public. So what the customers will have to do is, most of the enterprises will be already having an Apple Business Manager account, and all they have to do is enroll into the Apple Seed for IT program using the same Apple Business Manager account. And once they enroll in that program, they will have the option to create managed user accounts. I think they'll be able to create these managed user accounts even without enrolling into the seed program. But the seed program is required. Enrollment into that seed program is required for availing the seed updates. So yeah, please go ahead and enroll into this seed program and have a pilot group of users participate in this program. They can either have their primary devices updated into the seed updates, or they can have a secondary device where they can have the seed updates running, and they can continue keeping their primary device on the public version of the OS. And if you find any issues with the Zscaler products, yeah, feel free to let us know.
On the
We will-
community.
On the community.
Absolutely.
On
Yeah.
the community. So we're gonna bring it home, because I think we have just completely obliterated our clock. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, but we like whatever. So
Who's counting?
yeah, so yeah, community.zscaler.com. If you're our customer, you can log in, provision account, and you can access the ZDS area under our programs on our public releases area. So feel free to go check that out. Get involved. The more the merrier. And I can't thank the three of you gentlemen more, or enough, I should say, for coming on and talking about this amazing collaboration that we have with Apple. And we do have Apple employees on the community as well involved in this. So just know that this is getting a lot of visibility, and I'm super excited about it. But I think that's pretty much all we have for today. And I, again, appreciate everyone coming on the show.
It's been wonderful. Thank you guys for your time. And now I know who to call for help getting Client Connector installed on my iPod. So
Okay.
Get out. Get
That's
out of
been out.
here.
I couldn't help myself. All right. Thanks for a great show, y'all. I'll talk again soon.
Thank you
Bye,
all.
everybody.
you.
It was nice.